Where is Deepi? I think it's call. We again? Yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We are here again with you on Friday afternoon. I'm Colonel Gadyok and with me Colonel Ashokan.
Good afternoon.
To discuss all issues that you have in your mind regarding the selection in the Services Selection Board. Starting from screening test to the psychological test to the GTO, in the interviews. We'll be taking on any questions that you have in any of those issues. Last week we had some questions on the interviews, we had some questions on the screening, there were some doubts which we discussed, and we would again like to take it forward this week in the same manner.
Last week, ladies and gentlemen, last week had a very good response. We have been clearing lot many doubts which has been asked to us. So we are expecting that you will come up with all your doubts and get it clarified.
So Colonel Chair has also joined us now. So we're looking forward to your questions. See, till the time we get some questions, we'll just start with after all, what is the selection board looking at or looking for in you? And you all obsessed with the OLQs, they're looking at normal human qualities. They're looking at your originality, they're looking at your ability to express yourself clearly, and all activities which are there more commonsensical, that's so don't get too obsessed by trying to project one quality or the other. Try and look inward, try and understand yourself, and try to build up yourself as a positive, creative personality. Anything that you'd like to add to developing personality so that?
So personality basically stems from, I would say, there are 4 pillars on which your personality is resting. First is your knowledge, naturally. Unless you have knowledge, nothing can move forward. So acquire as much of knowledge, and knowledge is not current affairs alone. Knowledge is about connecting with the real world around you and being very observant and being very inquisitive about the things that are around you, because that is what is essentially required to make you more accomplished, so that you are aware how the world is running, the way it is running around you, right? And then the second most important pillar is your ability to express your thoughts. So unless you're able to verbally and in writing express those ideas that you have, express your thoughts, express your knowledge, again that knowledge will be of no use. It will be like a car without petrol. So unless you have the petrol, the car won't move forward. So therefore, unless you are able to express your ideas with great clarity and ease to other people, that knowledge will be of no use to you. And the third pillar is your basic social graces, the way you come across as a person, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat others around you, your basic social intelligence of knowing when to speak, what to speak, how to speak, and also being sensitive towards other people. So your basic social graces, which comes from your grooming at home, grooming by your parents and your teachers. So the basic social etiquettes and the decencies and graces, that is what is your third pillar. And naturally the fourth pillar would be your ability to be able to remain always buoyant, charged, full of energy. So we are looking at your dynamism as your fourth pillar, so that you are able to come across as an energetic person who will be able to catch the bull by the horns and always be right there, right in the forefront, and never be shying away from responsibilities. So that is the kind of person that we are looking at. So these are the four major pillars: knowledge, your ability to express your ideas, your basic social graces, and your dynamism. So if you have these, nobody can stop you from getting recommended in the SSB. Leave alone SSB, you will be in any field that you go, you will be able to ride the waves very comfortably.
I'd like to add to what Kanchal said, put your knowledge. See, a lot of times you consider knowledge is about reading, writing. It's okay, that's got a limited input. It's about the observation of what's happening around, about your questioning, your curiosity about things. That is what builds learning. Learning is not about reading. Learning is learning through life. Learning is learning through experiences. Learning is learning from observation. That is what builds up a good, maybe wise person. So that's what is required.
One more point I would like to add on here, what Sir has said. You see, the process of acquiring an endearing personality. Now, everybody asks this question, Sir, how do we start from today? Like, what should be done from today onwards, henceforth? So, what we do here, that is also the answer to this question. The training what we are imparting here for you is an answer to this question. So, what we do here also is very simple. Firstly, we show you a mirror to you. It's like a mental mirror where you will understand what exactly is your present personality. So, you can ask this question to yourself, who am I as on today? Who am I? Which means in another form, or it's in a spiritual manner, we can say, what is today, what are the virtues you have, or we can say what are the strength of personality you have, and what are the areas of improvement in your personality. Let's not call it weakness. What are the areas of improvement in your personality? Once you generally get an idea about these areas of improvement, you can identify them, and then you may like to work on those areas of improvement with a vision of what is the expected standard now required, because life is all about changing goalposts. Now let's say your first goalpost could be today clearing the defense services officer selection. So you must have a goalpost, like this is the goalpost first I am going to have in my life, so that you work towards that. So it is like knowing the destination well, and then you know the starting point. Then also the third point comes, that is how to cover this distance, what exactly is my route to follow, how I should maneuver my route to reach the destination presently what I am having. It's not, a destination is not complete, because the whole life you will be improving your personality. There is a pursuit towards excellence, but right now if you have in mind SSB, you should know what exactly the Service Selection Board having in mind as an average selection. What is the eligibility to clear SSB? What is the standard what we have in mind as of now as an officer in the making? So the point I want to tell you is, the third is the most important point, that is how to chalk out your route to follow. What is the blueprint to be followed? So that you know this route as of now may not be familiar to you, but you should know that this has got certain curves, certain slippery road, certain areas where you need to maneuver with little bit of carefulness, and also the destination should be very clear to you. So this is exactly what we do in our training program in Olive Greens. This is how we have formulated this program. We have designed this program keeping in these three cardinal points in view. That is why this training is very important for it. Not a coaching program, definitely.
So are there any questions? I mean, we still waiting.
Yeah.
Anything that you wish to ask with respect to the processes of the SSB? Anything that you want to ask, whether it is screening test or GTO task or interview technique or psych dossier, anything that you wish to ask, do ask please.
Today morning one candidate asked me a question, what is most important, how should I speak, because my English is not very fluent, so what should I do now? So the answer to this question, because it's a very common question, I would like to answer here for everybody to hear, that communication skill is important. Communication means in two forms, that is verbal and non-verbal. But English speaking as such is not very, very important. So the idea of SSB would be, you may like to convey your mind, or you should be able to translate your thoughts into words and speak in a manner where it is convincingly clear about what you are wanting to speak. So it could be English, Hindi mixed together also. However, preferred would be language which is fluent, and the problem generally with people happening is they get into stumbling. You start stumbling when you speak, you stammer sometimes because your thought process is getting disconnected or your fluency of the language is missing. So what happens? You start stammering. It's like your computer gets hanged up. So this problem should not happen to you. So idea would be, when you speak, you should be able to convey the meaning behind it in a convincing manner. So you can speak English, Hindi mixed together also, but it should be delivered confidently and it should be fluent.
Yeah, see, language is only a means of expression what you have in your mind. So your thoughts, ideas are your knowledge, your information, your way of speaking or thinking. That's one. Language can be English or Hindi, fine. So what a lot of people are not comfortable in using English because they're not been in that atmosphere. So what is required is a combination. The flow of thoughts got to be smooth and clear, and that your hesitations, your confidence start coming in the way, right? Clarity of your thoughts and fluency of your expression could be English and Hindi, milake bhi chalega, but clarity is important.
Sunita has a question that she wants to know how to prepare for the psychological tests, and she says that she has a problem with the WAT. Now, Sunita, like we've just talked about, how should you improve your overall personality. Now, what is psychological test? It is basically you are representing yourself through those tests which are designed to reveal your personality, right? So, in a story writing test, you're basically writing about your own self. All the characters that you create there are basically you, right? So through those characters and through the level of idea and through the type of story that you're writing, you're basically revealing your the awareness level, the way you connect with your ambient environment, the kind of person that you are, your value systems, your beliefs, all of that are getting revealed through the responses that you give in the psych dossier. So all that you have to do is, like we've already said, uplift your thought process. I mean, how do you uplift? How do you become more enlightened? Is through knowledge. So if you are a person who's well connected, with the environment that you live in, you're nicely grounded and you're aware how things are happening around you, naturally you'll be able to relate with those things that are happening around you and then put them down as your responses in the psych dossier. So आप खुद ही सोचो कि अगर आपकी सोच अच्छी है और आपकी ability to write is good, how can your psych dossier ever go bad? If you are able to express your thoughts well and the level of idea that you generate is of a higher order, or it is a very genuine thought that you're putting on paper, the psych dossier cannot ever go wrong.
Yeah,
So-
I'll add to that. Now see, that's what your thoughts is. Nothing can replace your thoughts. You need to elevate them. when you come here for a course with us, you go through the process of writing a couple
How
of
to approach
stories,
it, yeah.
and under some kind of supervision, where you get some inputs as to what are you projecting of yourself, what is the show of yourself, and you need to re-evaluate yourself and maybe rethink how to write. Right? We won't tell you what to write, but we'll tell you how to think right and how to express yourself right. So that is the benefit that you get if you come for a program here.
Because it is also very important to know how to approach these tests.
Yeah.
It is sometimes you may be a genuine person, you may be a good person, but when you put those thoughts on paper, they may not be able to impress the assessor as much, the psych as much. So the way you project your ideas, those may not be adequate or found good enough for you to get recommended. So that is precisely what Colonel Gadok is saying, that you must understand how to approach these tests so that you are able to represent yourself in the best possible manner, right? And specifically that you asked about the WAT part.
Yeah.
So remember, WAT is not a sentence making test, like TAT is not a story writing test. Similarly, WAT is not a sentence making test, otherwise they would have called it sentence making test. They call it word association test. So which primarily means that when this word comes in front of your eyes, what kind of an emotion does it trigger and what does it precisely mean to you? How do you relate with that particular emotion? That is what they want to see when you put your sentence on the paper. So therefore, let's say whatever word comes in front of you, it is not that you have to say मेरे को एक sentence बनाना है इसके ऊपर. You should be saying, when this word flashes in front of my mind, what does it mean to me? Let's say the word jealousy flashes in front of my mind. What does it mean to me? It will mean different to different people. Let's say to me, immediately the thought of that famous Onida ad comes to my mind, owner's pride and envy of the neighbor. So something like that, isn't that a good sentence for jealousy, to say that jealousy is the best form of appreciation? That is the thought that occurred to me immediately. So therefore, it is the level of idea or the way that you project that thought will reveal the person that you are.
And the value that you have at that. Yeah, we have one more question from Sachin. Is regarding the GTO techniques in the PGT, how to crack any structure.
So
Don't
I would
crack it.
See,
You have to surmount it. Carry an axe otherwise.
structure is what? Structure is a tool in the hand of the GTO. You see, what is all these outdoor tasks? What are these minefield crossing experience for you? It is not a test. Firstly, you should understand it's not a test, that there is a structure in front of you. You have to dismantle it or you have to assemble it. It is not the way it should be. What it means to you is, we are giving a tool or we are handling a tool with you. With that tool, we are trying to see few qualities which we are looking for in a potential candidate. So what are these qualities which you are looking for, especially in a minefield crossing experience, would be most importantly your practical intelligence, how you can reasonably understand a structure, how your observation is, are you able to decipher the design of the structure, how good is your observation, are you able to latch on to certain nuances there we have put there, where you are you able to connect the helping materials given to you. So ability to use your scarce resources in the right manner, at the right time, at the right size and right quantity. That is what we are going to see. So what is leadership? Leadership is all about using the resources available to you. So that's what we call effective intelligence. Using these resources available to you practically at the right place, at the right quantity, and optimally used there. So this is what we are going to see.
Confuse it too much. It's just mostly commonsensical. Observation of the thing is very, very important. How you observe it, and use your common sense. What is the best way to do it? There's no rocket science in it. So don't get too scared about how do I crack this. Once again, perhaps if you come to a course here you get a feel of it, and all that maybe stresses,
Actually-
hesitations go away. So you become more confident, and then application of mind still commonsensical.
Actually, what we were trying to tell you right now is that during our program here, we will tell you the physics behind those ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, it is all about logic. It is all about what you've studied in the class. Now, that cantilever that you studied in the class, or the Pythagoras
simple
theorem
missions.
that you studied in the class, that will be interpreted in the form of these little ideas that we have. So there are about 10-12 basic concepts. If you are able to comprehend those basic concepts of physics and geometry, there is no structure in the SSB that you will find difficult. And telling you one very, very important thing, being a GTO, that the GTO is not really too much interested in this Bhatta Balli business. He is primarily looking at a person who can be effective as part of a team. So it is not that you have to, every structure you have to give some grand idea. They're all simple, basic ideas. There's nothing great about coming out with those ideas. But what is more important is how you carry the team along with you. How careful are you about the rules? How nicely, or are you a person who's sensitive to other people when somebody is giving an idea? Do you every time overrule other people? So the way you come across as a person while this is happening, that is precisely what the GTO is looking at. The practical work sense part, if you go through, like I said, one of our classes also, you will understand that there is no structure which is so difficult where you will not be able to come out with an idea. That is no big deal actually. But what is more important, or much, much more important than that, is the way you carry yourself through this. So if you are able to understand this fact that no task in the SSB is important, none of those tasks are important. What is important is the role that you choose to play for yourself in the process of that task. So the process of the task is more important than the end result. So don't go for the end result. That is what you have to understand.
You see, as Colonel Chayla said, the complete task designed by us at the SSB is primarily to bring out your personality, primarily to bring out your end result as a potential leader in the making. So, though practical intelligence is also important, but as Colonel Chayla has rightly brought out, you are going to see the role you are going to assume in a group. Are you assuming the role of a follower, or are you assuming the role of a leader? Are you taking initiative? And how well you are gelling with the group? Are you a clog in a machine, or are you become a sore thumb, like you are standing out from the group? All these things are going to be seen by the GTO. You should know this. And these ideas, what rightly Colonel Chayal was mentioning, these are all, there is a chapter, if you remember, in school called Simple Machines. In that you would have learned about pulleys, cantilevers, you would have learned about fulcrums, and many other small things. So these are the basics of mindful crossings. Once you come here, we will not coach you, we will not make you by heart this structure, but what are we going to do here is we are going to get you the funda, the basic, basic theory behind, of course more than theory, how well you can execute what you have learned on the ground and achieve the results. That is all about assessment.
Sunita has a question. There is I want to know how to speak in front of an IO. As in the last SSB, I found that I had a good, healthy conversation with the IO, but I was smiling a lot. Sunita, there's nothing. There's no specific way, but it's just a conversation. Your ability to converse well. You had a good interview, you interacted well. It's a good thing. It's good to be pleasant when you speak. Obviously, you need not be strained but smiling all the time, I am not too sure. It's good to be pleasant. I can't say you should not smile, but for everything, perhaps one has to be a little careful. At times, it shows a little immaturity. So one has to be relevant. One has to be pleasant, smile when required. But not all the time. It's a good conversation here. So just speak to him comfortably. He'll be friendly. He asks you questions. You're going to go ask you questions about your own self, about your school, college, studies, friends, maybe home life, hobbies, interests. Things like that. वो अपना ही बताना ना. Maybe some issues on general awareness, some situation handling could be there, where you have to maybe think and apply. So it's got to be normal conversation skills. There's nothing very special how to speak to an IO, it's got to be normal way of speaking, a friendly way of speaking, a respectful way of speaking, but you need to be pleasant all the time.
When the interviewing officer is expecting an answer, you just smile, that won't be enough.
Yeah, you don't know what to say.
So it's not that always you are smiling.
Yeah.
You need to speak, you need to make sense also. Let me tell you all of you, in a bird's eye view, what we going to do, all this assessor board, what we do at the SSB is, we are going to assess your mental age. Your physical age, we all know, it is all in the document also. But your mental age, nobody knows yet. Nor your parents may not be knowing, your teachers may not be knowing, your friends may not be knowing. Even you may not be knowing your mental age right now. So at the SSB, what we do, by applying all these tools which are psychological in nature and holistically when we see your personality, in the conference, before conference, we would have made a pen picture of yours and we would have assessed your mental age. Say your age is 21. When we assess you, we find you got a mental age of 12 years only. You can imagine there is a huge gap with the mental age and physical age, because your thought process are childish, you think like a teenager, or your stress level is like a teenager, you are shy to speak to people, your confidence level is missing, or your maturity of mind is lacking. Everything can happen with all the points we have been discussing. So if the gap is too much, definitely we are not happy to select you.
See, I'll give you an example of mental age that is saying. I'll give you an example how one would perhaps in the interview. I've seen a girl, I'd interviewed a girl who was talking about studies, and she was very comfortable with history, geography, but she chosen science. And she did an interview, not very well, but she did it. When I asked her, why did you choose science? She says, I took it because my father told me. Nothing like that. Parents are advising, it's good to. But when I asked her, did you not discuss with him? He says, no. I said, why did you not discuss? She says, because my father knows best. See now, what does that show me? You are a girl at about 24 years of age. When you say my father knows best, it means you're still a child. I don't say that you need to fight with your father or argue with him, but you need to put across your point and discuss, okay, I need to do this, I'm more comfortable with this. If you maybe eventually you take science before you can, he is insisting. You need not follow, but you need to put across your point. And if you think that you need not put across your point because he knows best, so for me, you're still a child. See, that's how we would relate. What kind of person are you? There's another question from Devansh. Yeah.
He says that PPDT was good and OIR, he felt he was OIR 1 and that he did not know what went wrong with the screening test, as he felt that he also, second point he's mentioned is that he's not able to complete his narration part. So now please remember, Devansh, that there is no single one small point because of which you may not be making it in your screening test. It is a combination of everything. I mean, it starts with your OIR, which you said you've done reasonably all right. And then it is an overall package. The way you walk in, as you're coming in, the way you're dressed up, the way you come and loudly wish the assessors, the way, you're looking at other people, how the others looking at you, the way you are narrating your story with how much of confidence and ease. Then when you participate in the discussion, are you looking like an effective person as part of the team? What role did you choose for yourself while the story was being compiled? So it is a combination of everything. You can't say that just because of one thing that you will not get screened in. So it is a overall thing, because after all, after the screening, they're not going to finally recommend you. They're only giving you chance to stay for 4 more days. So it is a very, very broad sieve where they're looking at some spark in people whom they will be very happy to retain for 4 more days. So you have to show that spark to them, and that once again you have to be, nicely groomed. You have to be, the way you sit and the way you interact with other people has to be pleasant. When you narrate your story, it has to be narration has to be confident. So it is a package. It is an overall thing where they say, "Bhai, this person can be given a chance to stay for 4 more days." So you have to strengthen the overall foundation of your personality. We can't say कि ये कर लेना या सिर्फ story अच्छी लिख देना, उसके वजह से you will get recommended. It may not happen. So you have to, like we have been telling you all, start grooming yourself. And if you're overall a person who is confident, pleasant, interactive, how would you not get screened in?
So Devansh has also added one more to the same question. He says, I could not complete my
Yeah.
narration in a minute. Now Devansh, see, narration is required where we listen to your story. And see, when you write a story, you give it 4 minutes, and story would not be more than 10 to 12 lines. So if it is clear to you, reading it out confidently, clearly should not take more than 40, 50 or 60 seconds maximum time. If you're taking more time to read, what's happening is perhaps you are not very clear about the story that you've written, or you can't conclude it, maybe you don't even know how to conclude it. Something like that would have happened. Na? So one good idea that
Or
you
he's
must keep in
exaggerating the
mind,
story.
Increase the length.
increase the length of it. You want to unnecessary. So once you have written the story, when you come out for the discussion, you generally get a time of 5 minutes before you assemble for the discussion. Good to use that time to
Yes.
replay the story in your own mind, rehearse it in your own mind, so that there's more clarity in your mind, and you can also read it out in the given time. Don't add unnecessary unnecessary things to that, to add to the length of the story, to explain something more. Just be brief. What you लिखा है उतना ही बताना है, and that should not take more than 40-50 seconds.
So working on your, probably you've mentioned that narration in English is a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Probably that is why also you took longer to complete, because you're formulating, converting Hindi to English in your mind and then speaking up. So like you mentioned that you in between spoke in Hindi also a little bit. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What is more important is that you're able to, with great clarity, put out your ideas put out your story.
Or one more reason could be the format of the story you are writing is not commensurating to that 4 minutes also. So most of the time what we have seen, the youngsters, over dependence on online programs and some programs or all these kind of teaching coming from internet, the format in your mind is not correct. So what happens is you start giving too much of importance to the introduction, then finally coming to the action part. What is the character, main character, what has he done there or what has she done there to improve the situation or to to interact with the theme? You have hardly got any time to complete it. So your format also may be not coming up to that 4 minutes time. That also is the reason you're not able to complete in 1 minute. So the solution, what are the solutions? Solution, you need a proper training. All these things can't be assumed, or you can't do the training the way it is supposed to be done in the SSB through online programs or online classes. That is a fact.
So he's added a question: how do I improve my narration? The only way to improve narration is to start narrating. Pick up a passage from a book or a newspaper, maybe write something on a, say, pick up a lecture topic, अपने हिसाब से थोड़ा prepare करो और ज़ुबानी बोलो. First read it out for some time, 1-2 बार पढ़ के फिर ज़ुबानी बोलो. Only when you practice to narrate, you can improve. Again, as you edit, don't get stuck. Sometimes you don't get the right word or expression. Use combination of English and Hindi, but come back to English. A particular word or expression you're not finding something in English. Use Hindi में जो लगता है, then come back to English. What is required is a free flow of thoughts and ideas, a confidence when you speak, and some clarity of your speech. Those things are important.
It would be a good idea when you practice, when you write a story, it is good to read out louder and read out, after reading out, narrate it without looking at it also. So you must make a practice of doing it every day so that you become confident to speak anytime about a small story. That mini story should be in your mind, that the point should be kept in your mind. Then you should be able to just give out. So this practice is required to be done. It's not easy that way.
Actually, improving spoken English will also help you, complete your narration on time. Like you mentioned that you have a little bit of an hesitation. So the hesitation will go by speaking more. So, every day you can even read out the newspaper aloud. Every day stand in front of the mirror and give some mock lectures. So the more you speak in English, the better you'll get. Maybe you can form a small group of 2-3 like-minded friends who are going for the same purpose. So tell them, let's in the evening discuss some topic, some current issues which are happening. So discuss all that in English. Maybe you can even record your voice and listen to your own voice, how you speak. See how you could modulate your voice better. Like in the army we call it RSVP. Keep those 4 points in your mind: the rhythm, the speed, the pitch and the volume. So if you keep these in mind, you will be able to put out whatever that you're speaking with, which will sound more impressive.
This is going to help you not only for the narrating the story, also in the lecturettes,
Yeah.
also in the interview. right?
Absolutely.
The more you practice, the more comfortable you become. Once again, we like to highlight English need not be a binding factor, use combination, but clarity is important and confidence of speaking is important. Fine. Garima has a question. If
Yeah.
IO asks you to, have you taken any coaching, what should we say? Well, see, we discussed earlier. See, देखो, Garima, what is important is that you are preparing yourself. Coaching sometimes becomes a misnomer. Preparation is important. Preparation requires clarity. Preparation requires self-awareness, and maybe a little bit of a interpersonal skills building. And that's what exactly this program here is about. Coaching may not be the right word for this. Coaching is totally for things like preparing for a JE exam, for a NEET exam, you know.
Spoon
which is over a
feeding
period of
yourself
time,
with answers.
where you do everything 5, 10, 15 times and you learn the shortcuts, you make less mistakes and you get better scores, and you finish coaching and you go for the examination, you may do well. But that does not provide apply to your personality. Personality needs grooming. It needs grooming or mentoring or guidance. It needs self-awareness. So that is exactly what we do here in these 2 weeks, where you allow, where we actually trigger your thoughts in the right direction, so that you can apply yourself and you have a little bit more comfort in doing that. Fine, we cannot change your personality. So when you finish these 2 weeks, it's not good time to finish the 2 weeks and go for the SSB. It will not be good. These 2 weeks will give you a fair idea as to what more you have to do with yourself, how to do, and you need some time to work on those things, right? So you need some 2 to 3 to 4 weeks for gestation, working and improving yourself. Right? So therefore, this is not really a coaching program. I'll give you an example of recently a boy who somehow was hesitant to say that. You know, he was a good chap. He did well there also with the GTO, with the IO, everything. When he was satisfied. But the GTO at some time asked him, have you taken coaching? And instinctively he said, no sir. And how did you prepare? So I spoke to my friends ABC. Right? Similarly, IO also during the interview did ask him. They may ask you, right? Have you taken coaching? And instinctively he said, no sir. So and how did you prepare? And then he also said, I spoke to my friends and so I'll tell you, basically the assessors out there would actually find out whether you've done some training preparation or not. Right? Person who's just come raw from the college or school, they have that expertise, experience, whatever you can call it, they can make out. So therefore, apparently they had a doubt about him. No, he दोनों को तो बोल दिया था. Then eventually board conference में they took at least 7 minutes to discuss him before he was called in. So apparently there was a tiebreaker. Perhaps it was his ability not to come out truthfully. And they asked him some questions. Again, the president or the deputy president asked him, have you taken coaching? And now he knows he's got, and he could not say yes. He said no. But he knew that he's been cornered because of this. So don't hesitate. See, this selection is not easy. If 100 go to the SSB, 60 get screened out. Out of 40 you get screened in, only 4 get recommended. So it is required to prepare yourself. And coaching would be not the right word to use. Fine? Coaching is not the right word. And 2 weeks is not there to coach you. It is there to guide you, to orient you and give you some direction where you to work and improve yourself. And you have to improve yourself and project yourself as you are.
And assessors can see through you. See, you don't think that assessors are fools. They can see through you. So if you just bluff or being dishonest for a simple thing like this, we are not liking it, because that shows that your honesty level is not very good. You are telling a lie.
You don't have the courage to say.
So it is better to put it across in a nicer word. You can say, sir, I have gone to a training program where I have oriented myself and understood where I need to improve myself, or I have focused on my areas of improvement and I am working on it. Nobody is perfect. Don't try to be perfect also. Nobody is perfect.
So actually it should sound like as if this is a part of your overall preparation.
Yeah.
So it should not sound as if के सिर्फ coaching लिया और SSB के लिए आ गया. So it should be a part of your overall preparation. You should be bringing it out in a manner in which you say that how it helped you to know yourself better, and those areas of your personality that required further chiseling, further grooming, how you were able to identify it better, and how this training program was able to align you with what is expected out of you in the SSB, and how your self preparation became more defined. So that is how you should be able to answer this question.
Olive Greens has got a phenomenal success rate, and all these candidates we keep checking up, they never tell a lie on this aspect. They always say, sir, we have done a training program, we're very happy about it, and we understood the areas where we need to improve, and we are working on it, and we are very happy about it. This is the answer, which is
because in any
very
case
positive.
the assessors are not averse to people who have prepared and come. I mean, basically it shows your motivation कि आप ऐसे ही सो के उठ के नहीं आ गए. You took some pains, you worked on yourself, and that is how you've come here. So they are not averse to people who have prepared or gone to so-called coaching academy, but what they are averse to is giving coached responses. Let's say in the outdoor task where a very simple idea is possible, you're creating a very complex cantilever and trying to impress the GTO. Naturally, he'll say that he's not able to apply his own mind, because a person who is very clear in his mind will come out with simpler options. Similarly, when you start writings of all those NGO wali stories and Swachh Bharat Abhiyan wali stories, naturally it shows that you are not an original person. These are all borrowed thoughts,
Stereotype things.
stereotype answers if you start giving in the
There's no
interview. उसने
creative-
कुछ पूछा है, पूरी कहानी सुना रहे हो. So that naturally shows that it is a prepared response. It is a borrowed thought. It is not your original thought. So that is what may put off the assessor, but he will never hold it against you if you've gone to some training academy and groomed yourself and worked on yourself to become a better version of yourself. Nothing wrong with that, and there is no need to hide that as well.
And remember, you are going for academy training only after this. The whole army is about training. The day you join, your training starts. So self-training is a way of life in the armed forces. So we are very happy to know that you are already started the training to improve yourself and to groom yourself, and we are very happy about it. So be confident to say that.
Ishan has a question in the PIQ. He says, I've been placed and my joining date is in September. After my SSB, should I mention the package? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Since you're not earning as yet, you could say you've been placed in A company or B company as a system analyst, as whatever, fine. You may not mention the package since you're not getting it. But obviously the IO may ask you what is the package offered, you can give that. But because right now if you're not earning, you can avoid writing the salary because it's not been, you've not got anything in your package. Whether you placed, good to write placed, joining in September, October, whatever. See, PIQ is an important document that you fill up. It is seen by the psychologist, it's seen by the GTO. It's good to pay attention to it when you're writing it. In that, write it well, give complete information, avoid cutting and overwritings, and maybe whatever you write will be questioned, will be discussed, so you should be able to answer something more in it. Narendra Singh says, can you suggest some good books? All good books, good books for what? A lot of good books in fiction, a lot of good books on self-awareness.
History.
What are you looking for?
There is no books for SSB coaching we would recommend, because personality cannot be improved by reading books. You cannot learn swimming without getting into the water. So please don't ask this kind of questions. The question itself is wrong. However, if you really want to read books, please go for books which will enhance your awareness, enhance your communication skill, enhance your good English.
What is mentioned is that in the hobby section, if he wants to mention reading, what kind of books should he read? That is possibly...
That is up to his
his liking. Maybe if you
liking.
like fiction, you read fiction. You like history, you read history. So don't, for the sake of writing in the hobbies, don't say
That's
कि
why
I
this
read.
question.
जो आपको genuinely अच्छा लगता है पढ़ना वो पढ़ो and mention that. And
Why
be
you
aware
want to
of it.
fake your personality? You read whatever you like to read.
And mention that.
Don't read for the heck of going to
I've got
SSB.
some more questions on the PIQ. Perhaps during the college days, I played many games, had participated in things. Then now you're not playing. Doesn't matter very much. The PIQ form is about your activities in the school and college. That is 10th, 12th, graduation, post-graduation. So at whatever stage you played the game, right from and to. Yes, he may ask you something about the game. He may ask you where all have you played. He may ask you what position have you played. He may ask you some rules of the
So
game.
are you playing now?
Or how are you playing now?
Yeah.
So yes, if you don't have an opportunity to play, so don't say don't get much time, or we don't have a place. Or people who like to play, they may find time to play.
Yeah.
May play in the neighborhood. May go to a stadium. Maybe find ways of doing it. Fine. So actually, one doesn't give up a game. If you play a game, you play. Yes, you represented or formally played in the school or college from maybe 1 year or maybe September from maybe 2020 to 2022 or 22 23. You can give that block of academic year. So that should be enough. And are you continuing now? You can say yes, I'm not getting my time, but I play on weekends. I play whenever I get time. So that would be all right. It's not necessary that you should be playing all the time, but having played some games, you don't really give up games just like that. Yeah. Or is good to write earlier sport than I like. See, as I told you, the PIQ covers your period
Badminton
of
I used to play.
school,
Can I mention that? Yes.
10th, 12th, graduation. So whenever you played badminton, maybe in the 9th, 10th, you could write badminton. You could write whatever you play in the neighborhood, whatever you played, write that. Piyush Yadav, I am conference out twice. I'm not able to find where I was lacking in my previous SSB. Since I performed good in all the tasks, so how to get recommended next time?
I mean, without seeing you perform on
Yeah,
ground,
yeah.
we may not be able to really comment that which area of your personality needs further grooming. I mean, you felt that you did well. I mean, you felt you did well, but naturally the SSB did not find that good enough. Isn't it? Your good was
Your
not good
level
enough.
of performance is not probably the level of expected
A lot
level.
of times, there is a minor small kink that needs to be straightened up, and because of which a candidate may not be making it. You may be very good at various aspects, but maybe there could be one small thing which is acting as a drag on your personality or which is pulling you down during the SSB. So the moment you understand that this needs to be set right and you work on that and you improve on that, you will surely make it. Because we've had candidates from Olive Greens. I think the maximum time was a 17th time repeater, and 14th time was another one. And 8, 9, 10 wale to I mean, there are innumerable. I mean, there's so many of them who have got recommended in many attempts. So once you understand what is wrong, you will be able to work on that and improve upon that, and you will definitely make it next time.
So
But
you should know, if you see people who got recommended with you, they're not very much different than you.
yeah.
Like he said, there are some minor things which come out, which you perhaps you don't realize.
Yeah.
A lot of times they come out of hesitation, self-doubt, which could come out in the way you think and write or you speak. A lot of times they are sometimes one is a little insensitive to others because that is the way you are. So we don't really know, because we are in a way slaves of our habits, and हम अपने से ठीक ही करते हैं, but हमको लगता नहीं कि कई बार चीज़ वो ठीक लगती नहीं है. Fine. So therefore, perhaps if you go through a program like this where we all see and discuss, and therefore we can generally guide कि भी इस चीज़ का ख्याल करो, maybe. So when you can do your best, but it has to come to the requirement.
There is a 10th timer, he never came for training to us. But once he came here, we realized he's got a very dominating personality. He's a bullish kind of character, which he never knew himself. Otherwise, he was very good.
You don't realize.
Because he's been a dominating personality, that was going against him. And once he understood he got mellowed down, he understood the problem, he worked towards it, and he made his character and
So
personality
it's the same guy who was
bearable.
a seventh time repeater, who then in the TGC he topped the course.
Yes, as he topped
All
the
India
course.
rank one.
This is the chap I'm speaking about. And when he cleared, he topped the course.
Yeah.
So after training only he realized his problem. He never realized. So you may be thinking you are doing very well, but then self-analysis and self-introspection may not be the right thing you are doing. That is what we have to say.
You're doing it your own way, but perhaps at times you ignore ignorance. So therefore, once you go through process like that, you get some inputs, then you realize. क्या होता है? Lot of times children ignore these inputs, and therefore they think ऐसा ही है. So little bit more critical self-analysis. Maybe when you go through a program, you get these inputs, and can allow you to change.
So this guy says, sir, I used to play cricket, but I don't have any hobbies.
See, cricket is a game. Hobbies
Yeah,
are something
you
that
can't
you do
mention a
in your
hobby.
own. Could be like reading, could be like music, Could be things like painting or sketching.
Whatever that you like to
whatever
do
you
in your
like to
spare
do.
time.
But if you like cricket, you can even develop this hobby of following international cricket. There also could be a hobby, but then you should know everything about international cricket. Then.
Yeah, if you play a game,
It should be
obviously
mentioned
you
in
should
the
mention
sports.
the sports,
Yeah.
and it would be discussed as such. Maybe if you don't play, following it, just a lot of people are passionate about football, they hardly play. Maybe you can. Otherwise, I would like it to play something, and hobbies could be little. Could be even swimming, could be reading, could be cycling, could be fitness also, could be things like that you like to do. Yeah, Garima, it will be asked, why do you want to join the Air Force? In the Olive Green interview too, I mentioned, sir, I want to join the forces, but not biased for any branch. Garima Siko, it's good to be. You're passionate about armed forces.
He's an
Good thing.
OGN.
Yeah, but when you go to the Air Force, why not say I want to join the Air Force for the reason that you have? See, when he's looking at, are you motivated for this? So if you just would say I want to join the armed forces, जहाँ मौका मिलेगा, जहाँ select हो जाएंगे वहाँ चले जाएंगे. Maybe that is okay in your mind, but obviously the assessor may not be very convinced about your motivation for the Air Force. So it's good to make up your mind wherever you're going. When you're going for the Navy, do know more of the Navy. Do say I want to join Navy for reasons that you may give. Obviously, to say that I want to join armed forces and therefore no reason for the Air Force, it doesn't sound very good. It's not very convincing. It doesn't show your motivation at least.
And a better way to say the same thing would be perhaps that I feel all the three forces are equally good. However, I am more inclined towards the Air Force or whichever.
Whichever you're going to, whichever you're going
and then give your reasons for that.
Because you give a lukewarm answer, it gives you are a job seeker more than a passionate person. So that should not come in the mind of the interviewing officer. That's the point.
Yeah. My interview, you asked me about
Maldives
board relationship. So how much do
I have to describe?
See, understanding the issues are important. Maldives is an important neighbor, though small. Why is it important? Need to understand because of the proximity with the influence in the Indian Ocean and all those things. So a little bit understanding of the issues would be important. How far to go, I really can't tell you, but good to go into reasonable background details of that. Why is it happening? A little bit more reading, a little bit more listening to good talk shows will give you that information.
See, why we are asking such questions? See, they are all our neighbors. So what is India's relationship with neighbors? How the neighbors should behave with us? And what are our concerns with our neighborhood? What is our foreign policy towards our neighbors? As a armed force officer, you should be conversant with these things. This is expectation level of our board. So you have to come up to our expected level of awareness.
Now Aditya has been here in August and it's got screened out because narration starting में थोड़ा stammer. See overall what is the impact of the narration is important. Confidence, थोड़ा stammer हो भी गया, but if the story is good, you narrate it well with confidence, perhaps I don't think that should
Because
be.
you've written in Roman English.
Yeah.
If that is what you are doing here, you can imagine what you would have done in the SSB.
Yeah.
So why should you write it in Roman English? You should write it in proper English. You're aware of it.
You have to improve your English.
Using thoda baad mein
थोड़ा ठीक था, फिर सही था, फिर fluently बोला.
So why can't you write this in English?
Yeah.
You are going for officer selection here.
See,
You
your
have to improve your
expressions are
English.
important. No, this is not the way of expressing.
Probably something like this would have gone wrong
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It is not case वो क्यों fumble किया? Because probably you're not confident
And
in
your
it.
confidence level is visible.
Yeah. So please practice
Improve your English. Speak more. Be more fluent. If you want, you must come for a refresher course and practice
and practice
more.
speaking.
There is a solution. There is no other
Stammered
solution.
narration. See, क्या होता है कि stammering is also an issue sometimes it's seen because that shows stress and anxiety. Stammering होती क्यों है? घबराहट होती तभी होता है ना. Do you stammer with your parents? Do you stammer with your brother, sister, or friend? No, it doesn't happen. No? It happens because there is an anxiety and stress. And if that comes to the notice, they perhaps would take note of it, and maybe because they go to screen out and screen in people, so perhaps that may be the reason. Right? So be comfortable, learn to interact in a group, build up that confidence. Right?
Piyush, it is good. You feel you have been stammering, then you still got screened in because we told you, as Colonel Chahal was discussing the same thing. It's your overall package.
Yeah.
overall what is the personality you produced, it is just not because of one particular reason you may not get selected also, you will get selected also.
एक आध
So
जगह
it is
पे
an
fumble
overall.
हो गया तो it is not
हाँ,
really
it doesn't really matter.
फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
What is the overall picture we are getting, we go with it. And as it is, screening is going to be peripheral look of your personality. We don't go into details, we don't probe your personality. That happens in the second stage.
So with that, now we coming to the end of our time, the session that we have for today with you, 12:30 to 1:30. It's nice interacting. There've been good questions, and we will like to take it forward. Next Friday again, we'll be with you at 12:30 for a question answer session on anything that you have in your mind. Thank
See
you
you
very
all.
much.
See
Thank
you all. God bless.
all the best.